my YouTube channel, Natural Beauty. This channel is going to be all about natural hair, how to style your hair tutorials, how to treat your hair nicely, how to follow up with your hair growth. We're just going to be doing a lot natural hair, and I'm going to be dropping styles, tutorials, tips, and so on and so forth. So this very first video is a 3-in-1 video. I got a lot of requests from a lot of people on how to determine their hair porosity, how to transition into a natural hair, and how to trim your edges when you have split ends. So I decided to combine these 3 topics in one. So very first thing I'm going to handle is how to transition into natural hair. So if you have a relaxed hair on and you feel it's getting damaged, you do not like the look, it's falling off, well, you've made the right decision to transit into a natural hair. What do you need to transit into a natural hair? When I started my natural hair journey, I decided I was going to do kinky dreads, which was going to last me for 8 months. So I carried it for 8 months, and by summer 2018 I loosened the dreads out, and I realized that the lower part of my hair, or should I say the roots of my hair, was already growing, like what they call undergrowth. It had this undergrowth already, and when I was done loosening, I found out there were some dead ends that were dangling. They were like strands of hair that were dangling. Some of them were already automatically falling off, while some I just had to use the scissors to cut them off. So when you want to transit the way I did, you might have to go for long-term hairstyle, something you can carry for a very long time, for a period of about 1 year or 8 months or 6 months, depending on how you want your teeny weeny afro to be at the end of the day. I wanted mine to be a bit full, so I decided to wait for 8 months. You could also do the big chop, but I'm talking about transitioning, meaning gradual process. So after 8 months, I brought out my dreads, then I shampooed my hair because it was really dirty, and then I twisted them into smaller sections and portions, and I realized that I could see the difference. There was this line drawn between my natural hair and the strands of the relaxed hair. So I just took a scissors and cut off the strands. Yes, that was what I did. Then I made sure that I brought my hand lower to where my natural hair really is, then cut off some parts of it, so I would not be listening to stories that touch later on. So that was what I did. Then I combed my hair out, and voila, my natural hair started. So that's the start of me transitioning, and now we're going to be moving into how to determine your hair porosity. Porosity is how much your hair can absorb in moisture, how much it can retain moisture, and there are 2 different tests to determine how to know your hair porosity. The very first is the float water test, which I find very effective, and the other is the slip and slide test, which I've never tried, so I'm going to be explaining the float test. So if you want to know your hair porosity using the float test, all you have to do is wash your hair, make sure your hair is clean, no products, no oils, nothing. Then you comb it out. Your hair strands on your comb is what you would take and put in a cup of water. You could use a cup of water, you could use a bowl of water. If this hair floats, then it means you have a low porosity. If it sinks, it means you have a very high porosity, and if it stays in the middle, it's not floating, it's not sinking, then you have a medium porosity. So those are the 3 types of hair porosity we have: the low, the medium, and the high. These 3 different types of porosities have different features. They have what to do and what not to do when you have this porosity. So for the low porosity hair is the LD hair. It's shiny, it's just LD, it's just really shiny, and when you have especially when you have a black colored hair, my god, and then it doesn't retain moisture, it repels moisture. What do I mean by moisture? I mean water, products, treatments. It repels them. It doesn't sink them in, it doesn't suck them in. And when you have a low porosity hair, you would want to use only products that contain humectants like glycerin and honey, and products that contain emollients like shea butter, jojoba oil, mineral oil, and coconut oil, and all other form of oils. You cannot use a protein treatment for a low porosity hair, not because it's not good for your hair, but because your hair would not have the ability to suck in the the protein treatment you're adding. It's just going to give you this protein treatment build up because your hair could not take them in. And due to the fact that low porosity hair have this tightly bound cuticles, it makes it very hard for water or moisture to really sink in. So when you want to wash your hair or shampoo your hair or condition your hair, you're advised to use warm water because warm water has that heat effect, and once there is a heat effect, the cuticles in your low porosity hair begins to open up. So when you want to use a protein treatment later on, your hair would be able to sink in the treatment and it would work effectively like it should. So when you're done with your protein treatment or your deep conditioning stuff, make sure you use a paper bag or a steam cap or a shower cap or a hooded dryer or even a nylon, like I call it, to cover up your hair so that the heat would come from the nylon or whatever it is you've used to cover your hair, and allow the product to sink in. That is if you must use a protein treatment, although it is good for you to use a protein treatment on your hair at least once every month. So that is for a low porosity hair. For the medium porosity hair is the sweetheart because it doesn't stress you. It doesn't have do's or don'ts like the low and high does. It might have, but not to the. It's not as much as low and high porosity. And to me it's actually the sweetheart because it holds styles well. It retains moisture. It doesn't really get dry and frizzy. It's just an obedient child. Yeah, so if you have a medium porosity hair, I am really, really envious of you because I wish I had one. And you could also use a protein treatment for a medium porosity hair. Like I said, it sucks in moisture. Now for the high porosity hair, this is the damaged hair. You only have a high porosity hair because it's probably genetic, like you have it in your family. A lot of people in your family have the high porosity hair, or you've subjected your hair to heat damage, having to use hair straighteners and all those heat producing instruments, whatever they are called, because I don't use them, or environmental factors like the humidity, the weather, and so on and so forth. Or maybe when you dye your hair, just adding so much chemicals to your hair could damage your hair and give you a high porosity. So when you have a high porosity hair, your hair tends to be very frizzy and dry, and then it retains a lot of moisture. It might sound nice that your hair retains a lot of moisture, but it is really not nice because at the end of the day your hair is left dry and frizzy. Why? Because once your hair that is high porosity sucks in moisture, it continues to ask for more moisture because you just added something to your hair and boom, it's gone, it's soaked in. Then you have to apply more and keep applying more and keep applying more, and this could leave your hair very dry and frizzy at the end of the day. And high porosity hair requires anti-humectant. You use products that contain protein sources, deep conditioning products, since your hair can suck in the moisture. Then when you want to wash or shampoo your hair, you have to use cold water. I did not say water in the freezer or blocked water or iced water. I said cold water, like normal temperature water, instead of having to use warm water that would continually make your hair cuticles loosen up, because for hair porosity your hair cuticles have holes and gaps in them, so they are like this. They're not as tightly bounded as low porosity hair is. So when you use warm water, it's like you're opening it more. So what you have to do is to use normal temperature water to wash and shampoo your hair. For a medium porosity hair, you can perm it, you can dye it because it doesn't have its excesses. But when you overdo it, it begins to advance into the high porosity hair and then leave your hair really dry and frizzy. So that is all on the porosities. air porosities. So lastly, I'm going to be moving into the trimming of your split ends or your edges. So now that you have your natural air and you know how to determine your air porosity, or you must have determined your air porosity with the float test, the next thing you want to do is check for split ends. So what to do is, by the time you must have woven your hair over the time or done several protective hairstyles, you might end up having split ends. Or by the time you must have applied so much heat to your hair, you would end up having split ends. So how do you know you have split ends? When you check the tip of your hair and you see how dry and coarse it could be, or you can see through the tip of your hair, then you have split ends. Or maybe when you wet your hair, or you wash your hair and then you realize that the tip are dangling, they are not as lively as the other part of your hair are, then you have split ends. So what do you do when you have split ends? You trim them. But how do you trim them? So what I do basically is I section my hair into smaller portions, then I twist, and I do this while my hair is damp or wet, not dripping wet or damp. Then I check for the tips. Once I see that I can see through my tip, or I can feel the dryness by just merely touching it, then I know how far or how long my split ends are. So what I just do is I take a scissors and cut it off. But most times I go lower, lower than where the split ends are starting from, just to be sure that I have totally eradicated or eliminated, let me speak big English, or eliminated my split ends. So that is what I do. Then I do it for all other parts of my hair, and I cut it. I have a video on how to properly trim your split ends, and I think you should check up on the video and watch for a full understanding. Anyways, I think I've come to the end of this video. I've talked about transitioning into natural hair. I've talked about determining your air porosity, how to take the float test, cup of water. If your air sinks beneath, you have high porosity. If it stays in the middle, you have a medium porosity, and if it stays above, if it is floating, you have a low porosity. So, and I've mentioned the features too, and I hope you get to know the kind of product to use depending on your air porosity. So thank you for watching this video. Please do not forget to click the subscribe button, like my video, and share, and do not hesitate to make comments. If you have something to add or some questions to ask, please ask in the comment section. Thank you very much, guys. I love you so much.